She'll knock this out. She'll be sitting down. Yeah, okay. She's sitting down. He doesn't ghost people. He explodes. When Quentin Tarantino drops an actor, it doesn't fade out. It blows up. Question. I'm not your slave, and you're not my master. You can't make me dance to your tune. I'm not. Tarantino doesn't do subtle. He's the kind of director who will defend a performance until the day he dies, or burn the bridge publicly if you cross him. With Quentin, loyalty is cinematic. So is betrayal. For 3 decades, he's crafted genre-bending masterpieces. Reservoir Dogs, Django Unchained, Inglourious Bastards, each one dripping with style, attitude, and complete control. His sets are sacred. His casting is precise. And when the chemistry is off, he doesn't adjust. He ejects. He's been called obsessive, brilliant, difficult, and revolutionary. But behind that genius is a hard line. And if you're on the wrong side of it, you're not just cut, you're rewritten. Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, The Hateful Eight. Tarantino doesn't just write dialogue, he writes myth. But those myths only work when the actors match his energy. When they don't, the clash is explosive, and there's been almost no competition to show him there can be anything else. He's worked with legends like Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Christoph Waltz, and Brad Pitt, but some never returned. Here are 6 actors Quentin Tarantino locked out of his cinematic universe, and why he never looked back. By the end of this, you'll understand why he hated these stars. The veteran tough guy whose temper nearly shut down the set. Number 1, Lawrence Tierney. Tierney was supposed to be the veteran muscle in Reservoir Dogs, a stone-faced legend from the noir era, with the kind of on-screen menace Tarantino loved. Casting him as Joe Cat seemed perfect, until the cameras rolled and all hell broke loose. Behind the scenes, Tierney was a nightmare, not in a dramatic diva way, but in a volatile, unpredictable one. He'd forget lines, lash out at crew members, and argue with Tarantino constantly. During one infamous incident, he reportedly got into a screaming match with Quentin over blocking a scene, and when Tanny stormed off set, Tarantino followed him out and fired him on the spot. Later, Tarantino told an interviewer, "It was like dealing with your senile uncle who's off his meds." That wasn't hyperbole. Other cast members confirmed the chaos. Michael Madsen said Tierney's presence changed the entire energy of the set. Every day became a gamble. Could they get through the scene? Before Tierney exploded, Tarantino, who thrives on precision and energy, couldn't take it. He was 29, directing his first feature, and he didn't hesitate. Firing Tierney wasn't just a production decision. It was personal. He'd written the character for him, but when the vibe turned toxic, he cut him out emotionally long before the cameras finished rolling. After Reservoir Dogs, Tierney never worked with Tarantino again. No cameos, no calls, just silence. For someone like Quentin, that's the kill shot. No drama, just distance. The fallout was so final that even when Reservoir Dogs became a cult classic, Tarantino never mentioned Tierney in his reflections. No anecdotes, no tributes, just a missing piece. It's as if Tierney had erased himself from Tarantino's history. By crossing a line the director drew not in sand, but in concrete. Once you're on the wrong side of that concrete, you stay there. Number 2, the blockbuster star whose feud became Hollywood legend, Bruce Willis. When Pulp Fiction exploded onto the scene in 1994, it revived careers, redefined cool, and shoved independent cinema into the spotlight. For Bruce Willis, it was a much-needed resurrection. He'd just come off a string of critical flops. Color of Night, Striking Distance, Hudson Hawk. Tarantino handed him a comeback, but something never clicked. Behind the scenes, Willis's trademark sarcasm and Hollywood swagger didn't mesh with Tarantino's obsessive intensity. Quentin's scripts are sacred, word for word, beat for beat. Willis, used to improvising and dominating sets, didn't always follow the rhythm. He brought star power. Tarantino wanted obedience. According to crew members, the tension was palpable. Tarantino reportedly found Willis unreliable and too self-aware. Not the kind of actor who disappears into roles. While others like Travolta and Jackson became lifelong allies, Willis remained an outlier. No bonding, no repeat calls. Even in interviews years later, Tarantino rarely mentions Willis. He praises a Pulp Fiction ensemble, but always seems to orbit around Bruce's name. It's not open disdain, it's erasure. For a director who reuses his favorite actors like a stock company, the absence speaks volumes. Willis has remained diplomatic, never badmouthed Tarantino, but also never acknowledged the film as a pivotal moment in his comeback. In Tarantino's universe, loyalty earns legacy. Step out of rhythm and you're gone. Willis lit up one film, stole a few scenes, then vanished without a trace. Number 3. George Clooney, the charming leading man who didn't charm the director. Clooney and Quentin Tarantino should have been creative allies. They worked together on From Dusk Till Dawn, a vampire crime hybrid, giving Clooney his first major post-ER movie role and letting Tarantino flex his genre-mashing muscles as screenwriter and co-star. The film became a cult hit, but their partnership didn't evolve, and the reason wasn't hidden. Years later, Tarantino bluntly said, "George Clooney is not a movie star. No nuance, no sarcasm, just a shot." Tarantino didn't just dismiss Clooney's status. He doubled down, challenging people to name any of Clooney's truly great films post. 2000. Clooney didn't let it slide. He defended his body of work, subtly reminding Tarantino that Ocean's 11, Syriana, and Michael Clayton weren't small-time efforts, but the damage was done. Respect was gone. Tarantino values actors who disappear into roles, not those who carry red carpet charisma into every scene. Clooney was Hollywood polished, safe, bankable, slick, not dangerous, not raw, not the kind who fits in a Tarantino world of blood, vengeance, and psychological grime. After From Dusk Till Dawn, Clooney never appeared in another Tarantino project. Not a cameo, not a script, not even a whisper reunion. Considering how often Tarantino recycles his cast, that's a statement. Clooney moved on his career soared. He won Oscars, directed films, headlined franchises, but his name vanished from Tarantino's vocabulary. Press and interviews, Quentin rarely flinches. He doesn't apologize, doesn't revisit the topic, just silence and a faint taste of disdain. In a business where relationships are currency, Clooney became just another name Tarantino left behind. Not with drama, with dismissal. And for Tarantino, that's worse than a fight. It's being edited out of the final cut. Number 4. Spike Lee, the outspoken filmmaker who fired back publicly. This wasn't just creative tension. It was a public firestorm. Two titans clashing over race, responsibility, and who gets to tell what story. Spike Lee never holds his tongue. When Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown hit theaters in 1997, Lee took direct aim at Tarantino's use of the N-word. "I'm not against the word," Lee said, "and I use it. But Quentin is infatuated with the word. What does he want to be? Made an honorary black man." It wasn't casual critique. It was a shot at Tarantino's narrative style. Tarantino fired back, blunt, brutal, unapologetic. "If Spike Lee can't appreciate Jackie Brown, then I'm sorry for him," he said. "He has no right to tell any other artist what they can or cannot say." The line that grabbed headlines. Spike needs to shut the F up. From there, the divide became permanent. Real friction came when Django Unchained premiered. Lee condemned the film outright, calling it disrespectful to my ancestors. He refused to watch it. Tarantino dismissed Lee entirely. "I think his problem is that I'm doing it better than he is. He's just mad because I'm making the black movies he wishes he could make." That wasn't disagreement. It was war. No apology, no reconciliation. Scan Tarantino's career. He's worked with nearly every kind of actor, but never once collaborated with Lee or anyone from his cinematic circle. Both men operate at the top of their craft, but their paths never cross. Not in panels, not in interviews, not even in mutual praise. That one quote cemented the fallout. It wasn't just offensive, it was final. The longtime collaborator whose friendship hit rocky ground. Number 5, Steve Buscemi. Buscemi helped launch Tarantino's career. As Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs, he delivered one of indie film history's most iconic rants. But behind the dry wit and kinetic tension, something strange unfolded. After that film, Buscemi, despite talent and early loyalty, was quietly phased out. Theories swirled, the most enduring, a now famous tipping argument. In the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs, Buscemi's character refuses to tip waitresses, claiming, "Society says, don't tip these girls. They're doing a job." Memorable scene, but some crew suggested it wasn't just character. It was inspired by a real conversation. Buscemi had allegedly voiced similar views off camera, and Tarantino didn't take it lightly. A Reddit thread recounted assistants recalling Tarantino joking years later that if Buscemi wanted back a film, he'd have to play a waiter. He wasn't joking. That role never came. When asked why Buscemi wasn't brought back for Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill, Tarantino brushed it off. Sometimes people get one shot. That's the story. A cold answer, considering how many other Reservoir Dogs actors like Michael Madsen and Tim Roth became regulars. Buscemi never complained publicly. He went on to deliver acclaimed performances in Fargo, Boardwalk Empire, and dozens of other projects. But fans noticed he was never even considered for Tarantino's later films.